Hey, how's it going? I'm gonna do one of these walking, talking videos like Zoom does sometimes. So, today was a little bit frustrating because of some issues with my pharmacy. Now, there's exactly one service that you want from a pharmacy, and that is to get your prescription drugs. That's the only service that they have. So, if I have a frustration with my pharmacy, it's going to be that. Now, sometimes pharmacies take a little bit of the brunt of what's actually a problem with, prescription, or excuse me, insurance. And yes, that has happened with me. And I, try to use charitable interpretation when it's appropriate. Or in this case, if your doctor sends the wrong prescription, that can cause a problem too. Of course, I didn't know that's what had happened. So what transpired was sort of a parody of errors. That, God, it sounded like a horse was about to jump on me. Okay, apparently I'm hallucinating. What was I saying? Oh, right. So I don't remember if it was Friday or Saturday, but I realized one of my prescriptions was getting kind of low. And I had also received a notification that there was a pending refill, but more information was needed. Now, I became quite used to these sorts of notifications because at one point in time I had a duplicate prescription in the system, and it was they were like leapfrogging each other. So it was always flagged in the system that, I was over my quota. And you know what? Rightfully so. We needed to get rid of one of them. I don't know how that happened. So, I just realized that's mildly ironic. Let me get to that. Let me explain that. Eventually, some time back, this is relevant to the story, so let me rewind a little bit. Do I really want to go up where there are people? I don't want people in the video. Let me turn around. So I went to pick up a prescription one day and was mildly frustrated that the pharmacy was closed. They close early. So I tried to go the next day after carefully taking note of the hours. And then I got there and they were closed that day. Now, I had made a special point to note the schedule, so there was no indication that they were going to be closed. That's when I was pissed. So I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. My aunt has complained about this pharmacy. It's been going downhill. I think the corporate is doing cuts, whatever. So I'm switching to this really good pharmacy that's in my store. And so I take all of my prescriptions and I move them to the other pharmacy. So that's the first clerical kerfuffle. Now, part of my scheduling problems is my company, like many companies, has recently instituted a return to office policy. The work from home thing came about because of COVID. And, COVID it's still around, but it's no longer a pandemic. And so it wouldn't be that bad. I don't actually mind working from the office. It's just that I willingly and of my own volition accepted a job that was not in the next town or even the town after that, but 2 towns away. So that kind of sucks. Or 3, is it 3? If it's boom, 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 whatever. It's way the hell down there. So basically, my entire day is shot. I leave in the morning before life is happening just to arrive to work on time. And then I come home and I get home just a little bit too late to do anything. So, given that I go to the gym and get something to eat, it could reasonably said I'm getting home, just about in time to start thinking about bed. Maybe not hop in bed, but, consider it. It's on my mind. Today was no exception. So over the weekend, I got a notification from my doctor that a scheduled refill had been sent to what was now my old pharmacy. That was a little bit frustrating, but I clicked on the notification and I found out that it was one of my medications, one that was important, but not one which I was low on. I was low on a different one. And I looked at my bottles at the time. I believe it was Saturday. Might have been Friday. But if it was Friday, it was late Friday, after the office was closed. I think it was Friday, actually. And I realized that I was dangerously low, not on that prescription, but on a different prescription. And then I looked at the bottle, and the bottle said that there were no refills, which was a little bit strange. So now I had a mystery going on. I didn't know what was going on. A little bit confused. So I immediately called my doctor. And I'm like, hey, I'm like out of this medication, and it's not one that I want to be out of. There is a third prescription that I'm on. And if I were out of that one for even a week or two, it would not be that big of a deal. But this one I want to stay on. Or at the very least, I don't want to go cold turkey. If I'm going to get off it, you get off it gradually. Maybe you take a half pill or a quarter pill or something. So, I did not take a half pill or quarter pill. I left for work this morning not having taken anything because, well, I was out. What do? I'm not a magician. So, as I'm pulling into the office at about 8:51 a.m., I receive a call from my doctor. And they told me that the prescription that I had requested, they had already sent a prescription for that over to my pharmacy. Now, this confused me, because I had received a notification of a prescription being sent, but the prescription in question was not the one that I was asking about. But I simply assumed, as made sense at the time, that I had misunderstood or looked at the wrong message or any of these things, could have made sense. Hi. Well, anyways, so it's not a normal day at work. We are doing extended planning sessions. So it's just hour after hour after hour of meeting. And so, there's limited time in which to resolve ambiguities or questions. I have to deal with everybody else's schedule. So I'm basically making phone calls all day. I'm trying to call the pharmacy. And when I finally get a break in my meetings, I call the pharmacy and I hear that I'm third in line. And that's kind of annoying. So I sit on hold for about 19 minutes. And then the music changes and they say, sorry, that this was right as I was expecting my call to be answered, based just on the countdown from 3, 2, 1, ahead of me. They said, hey, we have gone to lunch. You can continue to hold for the next 30 minutes, or you can call back later. So I'm like, I really need to talk to somebody, but I guess I'll call back later, because I'm not sitting here at my office desk for the next 30 minutes on hold. That's ridiculous. And besides, I needed to eat lunch too. So, there was more meetings. It wasn't like I could immediately call as soon as their lunch was over. So I called later, and they don't have my prescription, even though my doctor said he sent it over. So anyways, but they say they can do an emergency 3-day supply. And so, but I have to be there in person in order to fill it out. Well, I can't be there in person because if I leave work on time and I drive straight there, I will arrive 80 minutes later, which is 20 minutes after they have closed, because they have these really short hours, which is part of the reason that I switched pharmacies. So I was forced to try to desperately call people to send them out on my behalf to the pharmacy, which is, I really don't know a lot of people convenient. I mean, I'm not gonna call my brother and say, hey, drive across the entire valley to go pick up a prescription for me. I mean, I guess I could. Maybe I have a few acquaintances. One person that I might have asked for help is quite ill right now. Another person I might have asked for help is recovering from cancer treatment. Another person that I knew was not available. So this whole thing was rather frustrating. So I called somebody that probably shouldn't have left the house, and I asked them for help. And I said, we can, if we can't, I was actually trying to find somebody else, but she insisted on doing it herself, even though she probably wasn't physically up to it. And anyway, she did get my medications. I appreciate that. But whole thing was still rather traumatic and difficult for her. I did call my doctor again and say, look, what the pharmacy told me doesn't make any sense, but one way or another, they don't have the prescription. So I need you to send it again or something. And unexpectedly, my doctor's office called later, about 6:15, which is way after they're supposed to be closed. And it's starting to look like they actually sent the wrong prescription over. So I felt kind of bad because I had gone on Blue Sky and I had made a post basically just yelling at this corporate pharmacy. And it looks like it wasn't actually their fault. Now, they did request a refill on the medication in question. My doctor's office just sent the wrong prescription over. Now, the reason that it wasn't transferred is because I had no refills. Now, I got to be more on top of that because in my mind, when I'm low on... Oh my goodness! It's a puppy! It's a puppy! Can I turn my phone around and show your puppy?
Of course.
Hey there! I'm not getting him in the frame very well.
Yeah, he's not going to try to eat it.
All right, have a great day. Anyways, lost my train of thought. Whatever. Don't put people on blast, especially if you don't have all the details. I didn't really know what had happened, and I'll be honest, it legitimately seemed like it was my pharmacy's fault after they had already pissed me off. But, it's hard to have all the details. In reality, they were the only ones that had submitted the request timely for the medication that I needed. And the ball was dropped by somebody else. But I'm not going to say that my doctor's office is a POS or anything like that. Because if there's a moral in all this, it's that, maybe complaining and shit-talking is the wrong thing to do. It's just not particularly helpful. It doesn't change anything. I legitimately think that the parent company that owns my pharmacy, and I could tell you where it was, but I'm not going to. Not after I've already screwed up once. I think that they decided to do staff cuts, and I think it radically degraded their quality of service. And I believe other people, like me, will slowly abandon the company, and it will hurt their bottom line. Penny wise and pound foolish. But it's nothing to do with me. It was wrong of me to make that post. I want to say tweet. I'm of the Hank Green camp that it's a tweet. But I guess on Blue Sky they call it a skeet, which is basically just a derivative of tweet. Pisses me off. I hate it when words are stupid. Oh well. Another thing I can't control. Have a great day.